Good morning. Raise your hand if you don't think you can take photos like these with a phone. Today, I'm going to prove you wrong and I'm going to teach you how you can take great photos on the field with a phone. I have with me the OPPO Reno14 and we're going to be shooting different scenarios. One is going to be harsh midday sunlight. Two is going to be sunset vibes. And three is going to be recreating a shot that was taken with my $7,000 camera in the water. Yes, we're gonna bring it in the water. If you're curious to see if it's gonna survive, well, keep watching and make sure you take notes to see how I'm shooting so that you can learn something from this video. And thank you OPPO for sponsoring this video. Let's get started now. All right, my first tip is going to make sure you understand the camera on your phone, first of all. So here on the OPPO Reno, I have from 0.6 to 7 times zoom. Why are those helpful? They're gonna help you create different ambiances. Are you ready? We're gonna first start ultra wide, okay? What do I want in this frame? I have two options, okay? I can take just that part without using any of those human-made elements right there, meaning the jetty, or I can include a little bit of the jetty just as for context, saying, hey, this is a boat yard and there's a jetty for the boat. So that's kind of my wide shot. It gives you an interesting perspective on how and where we are. And now we're gonna go at 85 millimeter and we're gonna go vertical to focus just on the mountain in the background. Now, I will give you a tip right now. It's to turn on your grid, there we go, in order to know how you're composing your shot, right? And you also have the level, and you can see if I'm tilting sideways, which is one of the biggest mistakes I see in all the photography students that I'm teaching, is to always take crooked photos. And that's such an easy fix. You can just take half a second on the field like this to make sure your composition is right, and then you just hit the shutter. Now, it's centered and everything is leveled. Okay, there's another shot that we can take at 7 times, and it's going to be right there with that line of mountain. So we end up in an interesting composition where we have the foreground with that palm tree, we have the grass right there, and then we have the mountains on each side. Here we go. And the clouds that are rolling at the background are also making it very interesting. So you see, in just a few minutes with different angles, we're able to tell the story of this location completely differently than if we had gotten just the tourist shot that is wide and just ran away. Just with the few zooms that are built in our phones, we can create something pretty epic. Now let's move on to the next shoot. Whew. All right, we tried some portraits here in the ferns on this mountain. It looks pretty epic. We've got the ocean in the background. I'm gonna try wide, so just for the ambience, and let's go tight right from the beginning. There you go. And trying to have him like on the corners a little bit. We have a little bit of those waves. You see he's going up. And here I want to refocus the light here, drop it a little bit. I'm gonna try to go a little this way. Yeah, there we go. Just to, you see this is showing a different pattern than this little bush. So really the goal is to keep the same pattern here. So I'm gonna move to Pro mode just to have a little more control over the settings. There we go. All right, ready? So what's important is always to take different shots just to try. And if you can take, like, you see like he's moving, so boom, that's good. Woo! All right, we've got an epic sunset happening right now. There is all the glow from the water, the big waves that is like pushing in the air. So we've got mist and the sun is hitting through, so we're getting those rays of light right now, and it looks absolutely epic. I'm so pumped. Wow, so nice. I've been moving between the 3.5 zoom to get just that little part in the sky that looks really epic, all the way to super wide where I had Ryan on the edge. We did a test shot earlier. It looks super nice, and the sun literally came out just for a few seconds, like you can see on the video right now, and we managed to get those few shots. It looked really cool, and that's how you can really make your subject pop. So if you look, the subject, Ryan, was actually wearing his black t-shirt, but he was on that golden light that was popping through with a ray of light. If there had been no ray of light and no golden, he wouldn't have popped out as much because the background would be kind of dark. And then you would have preferred to have him maybe around that glossy background. So something to remember, especially when you're shooting like that. So maybe you would want to have him here versus there. But because we had that epic golden fairy dust light, well, that kind of works. So I'm excited. Let me know what you think of those shots and if you would have done them any differently in the comments. Whew. All right, for the next shoot, we're gonna go in the water, and for that we need a few tools, meaning a jet ski, a surfboard. We have a model Santiago right there, and we've got Ryan as the cameraman and pilot, and we're gonna be testing a concept inside the water with this phone, and that's gonna be interesting because there's an underwater mode. So I'm super excited to try this and see how cool the photos can turn out. So let's go. Woo! All right, for this next shoot, we've got something extremely special. I'm going to try to recreate a photo that I took with my professional camera here in the water with our friend Santiago right there. Santiago, you're gonna be a model today.
Hi.
Thank you so much for doing that. How we're gonna create this, it's gonna be a little difficult, but I think we can make it. This phone has an underwater mode, which is great because if you've ever tried to take photos underwater with any phone, the touchscreen is a real issue. But here, there's this special mode that allows you to basically lock everything and take photos only with the buttons on the side. And that's something that is extremely easy. So I just have to press here to take the photos once I'm in the water, and that's gonna do the trick. All right, a few tips. The first one is to shoot just at the surface. The best shots really are at the surface because you're playing with the reflection of the light on that surface and it creates something dynamic like you can see on the original shot. So I'm gonna try to do the same thing. Second is I want this background, but we do have that boat that's literally stuck in the middle of the bay that we may try to remove after with some of the tools that are directly integrated in the phone, which is pretty awesome. Hopefully it's gonna work out the way we want. And last tip is in terms of focal length, I'm gonna shoot around 24 millimeter. Why 24? Because it's gonna be wide enough to have the water, the portrait, the person in the water, and also have a little bit of that background. I could shoot maybe at 50 millimeter, have more compression, but what I like in that frame right there behind me is the two mountains on the side also creating a V shape to really draw you in the photo. So also, let's pray the sun comes out. All right, let's try. Let's go. Alright, so we've got a cool angle here. So Santiago, I need you to like stand like really straight, you know, like strong back as much as you can considering you're on the board. So about 24 millimeter here. And I kind of like this, yeah, looks good. Okay, we get the mountain in the background. Whew. Now it's always hard to recreate exactly the same thing considering you have different light, but we shall try. To make the board disappear, I need to shoot fairly low to the water, like this. Look out to the mountain. Perfect. Facing this way and splash a little bit if you can while you're trying to look at the mountain or on the side. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, nice. Ole! la lumière. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah. Whew. Okay, we're freezing now. I think one of the biggest tricks here when you're shooting like this is to take a lot of photos, a lot. I probably took 500, and I know there's a few that are really good, but when you're in water, you're moving a lot. But I'm excited because I just looked at a few, and some of them are super exciting. Whew. Let's go debrief. Well, look at this. We've got some incredible shots from those shoots. And the first thing I want to share is that live photos is a lifesaver. In so many circumstances, I was using live photos and I wasn't sure at first because it's not a tool I'm using a lot, but it helped me get the right frame instead of having the face, for example, like on that photo with Santiago and the mountains in the background, instead of having his face on the mountains background, because I captured that half-second, 1 second clip. It allowed to have the face right between those two mountains to get completely well framed, and that was thanks to the live photo because we are moving so much. So if you have live photos, definitely use it on that OPPO Reno14 it comes in, and the editing tools that are built in the phone are incredible too, because I was able to remove that huge cruise ship that was in the background seamlessly, even maybe better than when I'm using my tools on Lightroom. The selection was made seamless, and then I removed other boats, as you can see, and look, it's super fast, it's super easy. There's also AI recompose if you want ideas for recomposition in your shots, and there is removing reflections if you want to remove reflection if you shot through a window. And last but not least, also there is the AI unblur, and unblur helps basically if you have a slightly blurry shot, it can make it sharp again. On the way back from the shoot with the jet ski, we also captured some pretty cool sunset photos. The sky was just incredible, and between that harsh daylight sun to in the water to sunset shoots, I'm very impressed by first the battery life, because I charged once for all those shoots, and it has 6200 milliamps battery, which honestly lasts much longer than my iPhone. And also the chip that is inside is a MediaTek 8450. That is, according to OPPO, really here to help enhance the photography with the AI tools and make it easier. And honestly, it was seamless. I was screen recording the entire shoots with the phone, and at the same time taking the photos, taking live photos, having the phone do all the enhancements to the photos while I was recording, and it was seamless. It was not lagging. It was very fast and efficient. Now let me know in the comments right now, what is the strongest tip you got from all those shoots, and what are you gonna try next on your next shoot, whether it's with the phone or with a real camera. Now make sure you check out the OPPO Reno14 if you need a new phone. And if you want to dive deeper into photography mistakes, watch this video or watch this one to nail your sharp photos. And with that being said, get out there, go shoot, try something different, try something new. I'll see you in the next one.